Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sah Veeryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangai Stushtvagum Sastanobhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Rajesh ji,
Yeah.
how many new participants are there roughly? Otherwise, we can.
So I think we can continue, please.
Isn't it?
Yeah, little bit brief summary, and then we can continue, please.
Okay. So I will summarize the first two chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Quickly. We have already discussed long time back how helpless human beings are, even though they appear to be powerful, empowered. It's the emotions which guides the human being. The emotional self or the instinctual self. And the rationality, the logical self, even that logical self is guided by the emotional self. There is a genetic makeup which decides the temperament of a person. Then, which is individual, which differs from individual to individual. Then, as human beings, over the years, we had evolved, and we carry over certain traits which were more useful when human beings were hunters, possibly, or living in a different kind of a society. But things have not changed over the years as much as we wanted it to change. So with all these constraints, we human beings have to face this world, this so-called modern world. And all of us, we are in the pursuit of happiness. We also saw how sometimes the very desperation, the desperate pursuit of happiness keeps us away from happiness. even the very understanding of happiness is not very clear. If happiness means that excited emotion, that exhilaration, then we are bound to be unhappy very soon. So one even has to analyze, understand what kind of happiness one wants. And here, what we are talking is the happiness related to inner contentment, inner fullness, that inner uh, mm, wanting person is no more a wanting person. With this, we entered the Bhagavad Gita. Then I see Bhagavad Gita as a scripture, as a book, which doesn't teach us how to perform actions. In fact, in my opinion, it teaches us how to live in such a way that we are immune to sorrow. It's a vaccination for sorrow, the virus called sorrow. Some people get that immunity in one dose, some require second dose, few others may require even more booster doses. And while living, of course, we will be performing actions. So it also teaches us how to perform actions. But more than teaching us the technique of actions, which is not its subject matter, it teaches us the mental frame, the attitude, the thought processes which we should be carrying while performing actions so that we are immune to sorrow. This is what, in my opinion, the Bhagavad Gita teaches. Last time we had that discussion. There are multiple yogas in the Bhagavad Gita. And somebody said that Swami Vivekananda had said something. Well, I don't want to quote anybody, but one thing is for sure. I look at what Krishna has said rather than what so and so person has said. And when I analyze the Bhagavad Gita, when I read it myself, I try to understand myself, I try to explain it to others. For me, the Bhagavad Gita itself is the pramanam. Pramanam means the evidence, not individual views of people, howsoever great they may be. So in the first two chapters, the first chapter talks about the background, the context of the battlefield, the battle of Mahabharata. The battle of Mahabharata was fought not for gaining some territory, but it was fought for dharma, righteousness. if some of you have gone through the story of Mahabharata, Krishna himself had proposed, he as a peacekeeper, as a peace envoy in the court of Duryodhana, in the court of Dhritarashtra where Duryodhana was present. He himself said that, okay, give 5 villages, if not 5 villages, a village with 5 houses to the Pandavas. But Duryodhana was not willing to give even an inch of territory without fight. Then Krishna said, okay, let us meet in the battlefield now. So it was not the question of territory, because one village with 5 houses for the Pandavas was nothing actually. They were better off living in the forest. But Krishna didn't want that fight to happen just for the sake of territory. And he made that proposal. When that proposal was also refused, he had no choice but to ask the Pandavas to be ready to fight. So that was the context. So the war was fought for the cause of establishing dharma, righteousness. Arjuna also came to the battlefield. He also wanted to fight. But when he saw his near and dear ones on the opposite side, and especially Dronacharya, Kripacharya, and Bhishma Pitama, who were his dearest ones, who were not even his enemies, emotions overpowered him, and his logic followed the emotions. And he started giving logic, how fighting is not good, why he doesn't want to fight for the sake of territory, and what will he do with the territory or the land which he wins in the fight. If he loses, then also he's a loser. And if he wins, then also he's a loser, because he will be losing all his near and dear ones. And he will be destroying so many families in the process. So that was his logic. He forgot that he came to the battlefield not for territory, not for anything, but to establish dharma. Even the near and dear ones whom he was trying to take sides. These near and dear ones were the mute spectators when Draupadi was molested. So, because of these reasons, Krishna cajoled him, pushed him, persuaded him to get up and fight. And that's how the first chapter ended and the second chapter started. And in the second chapter, we also saw Krishna gave different levels of logic and arguments. He even talked about what is Karma Yoga. And then he talked about Sankhya Yoga in the second chapter. Arjuna himself coined the word Sthita Prajna because Krishna was talking about evenness of mind and its importance. So Arjuna wanted to know how a person with evenness of mind behaves. How does he walk? How does he talk? What does he do? Etc. And Krishna explained to him that externally there may not be any special traits for such a Sthita Prajna person. But internally, yes, there is something common. And what is that common thing? The common thing is that inner fullness. He need not fulfill his desires to be happy. That's a very big thing. Normally, we feel happy only when our desires are fulfilled. But for a person, a sthita prajna, because of his or her vision, understanding, the fullness is already there, the happiness is already there, desires come and go, and they hardly make any difference. Just as the rivers flowing into the ocean doesn't make much difference in the waters of the ocean. The ocean practically doesn't get affected. Why? Because it is already full. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham. That was the shloka. So with this, the first two chapters ended and the third chapter started. Krishna had discussed about two types of yoga or lifestyles, the Jnana Yoga and the Karma Yoga. That also we discussed. The Jnana Yoga lifestyle is something where a contemplative life is more predominant and actions are less. Whereas in the case of Karma Yoga lifestyle, the karma component, the activity component in life is more predominant as compared to the contemplative part. Both the lifestyles have both the things, a contemplative lifestyle and life of activity. But it's the ratio which is more predominant and which is less predominant, which makes the difference. But possibly Arjuna thought, because of the ending note of the second chapter, he thought that the Jnana Yoga lifestyle, a contemplative lifestyle, is something which Krishna is praising more, because he's talking about fullness and how a person with that frame of mind, even when he attains that frame of mind at the time of death, is freed from the cycle of birth and death. So Arjuna thought that maybe that is something which is better or greater as compared to the life of full of actions, activity predominant life. And because of that doubt, he raised a question, and that's how the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita starts. Did I share with you the shlokas of the third chapter, Rajesh ji?
Acharya ji, no, please.
No, because I was thinking that we won't be starting the third chapter.
That's right.
But anyway, we changed that, and it doesn't matter. Next time we will share the shlokas to be shared on screen. Today I will just read out the shlokas.
And I'm sorry for everyone, like Swamiji, like he has a technical problem also today, so there is no video. It is just only audio.
That's okay. So, Jyayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava vyami shreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyo ham apnuyam. So this is the third chapter. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna asks this question. Jayasi chet, yadi chet, karmanah te jayasi buddhihi, yadi te mataha, karmanah Jayasi buddhi he Janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi he Keshava. If you think that the lifestyle of Jnana Yoga, okay, Buddhi Yoga, is superior to the Karma Yoga, then why are you pushing me in this terrible action? Okay, because he was being pushed into a terrible action. He had to fight. Fighting is not a simple action. It's a terrible action. Vyami shreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyo hamapnuyam. You are confusing me with your mixed words. On one hand, you are praising a person with evenness of mind who has withdrawn from outside and who is happy within himself, by himself. The so-called Sthita Prajna, and who is completely full, who doesn't have desires, or really speaking doesn't depend upon desires to be happy, a fulfillment of desires to be happy. So you are talking of somebody who is totally withdrawn and who doesn't act, who must be meditating somewhere quietly and fully content, cheerful. So you are praising that person. And on the other hand, you are asking me, you get up and fight, therefore you get up and fight. So aren't you confusing me? If you are praising a contemplative lifestyle and you are pushing me into something which is totally opposite, which is a lifestyle of full of activity, where contemplation is the possibility is very less, and with the kind of activity you are pushing me in, I have to kill people. Either I should get killed or I should be killing. So a killing life full of actions, which are terrible actions. So which one I should be doing then? If something is better, shouldn't I be pursuing a contemplative life? Anyway, I was telling you, I don't want to fight. And you also praised that a person with a contemplative lifestyle who is withdrawn is a great person. And even if one gets that state, even before leaving this body, just before leaving this body, one is free from the cycle of birth and death. So in a way, you are praising it. And you are pushing me for something else. So if this is better, and then I should be choosing something which is better rather than something which is inferior. So this is how Arjuna asked this question. Now, how did Bhagwan reply? Listen very carefully. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta maya nagha jnana yogena sankhyana karma yogena yoginam na karmana manarambhat naishkarmyam purushosnute na cha sanyasanadeva siddhim samadhigacchati. So Bhagavan didn't say, no Arjuna, I said only one thing. You should be fighting. That is the best. Not like that. What did he say? Here, oh Arjuna, I have said two types of lifestyle. One is the Jnana Yoga lifestyle, and another is the Karma Yoga lifestyle. Then what did he say? Just by not performing action, one doesn't achieve Naishkarmyam. Naishkarmyam means freedom from action, freedom from karma. So by not doing actions, one doesn't get free from karma. Nacha sanyasanadeva siddhim samadhigacchati. And just by giving up actions and just forcibly withdrawing oneself within and contemplating, one doesn't gain the success or the ultimate goal. So what did Krishna said? He talked about 2 yogas. Okay. And later on, he will be talking again in the 5th chapter and even sometimes in the 6th chapter. He will say that those who think these 2 yogas as 2 actually haven't understood the yogas. Really speaking, even these 2 are one and the same because their ultimate result is the same. Okay. And as we have already discussed, both are essentially same, but apparently different. Why essentially same? Essentially, both involve actions and life full of actions as well as life of contemplation. But the component of actions and the contemplative part, that changes. In the Jnana Yoga lifestyle, life is predominantly a contemplative life, whereas in the Karma Yoga lifestyle, life is predominantly a life full of actions. Okay. So he said, just by forcibly giving up karma and leading a contemplative life doesn't lead one to success or the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal? Freedom from sorrow, lasting freedom from sorrow. Okay. Then, nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit karyate hyavashah karma sarvah prakriti jair gunai. Even for a moment, a person cannot be without actions. Everybody performs actions according to one's own prakriti, one's own temperament. Okay. Now coming back, we should always remember Bhagavad Gita is a scripture which talks about how to be immune from sorrow. Actions, performing actions, or the attitude of while performing actions, etc., are the means to that goal. They are not the goal in themselves. Because we will be living, we will be performing actions, we will be pushed by our own desires, our own emotions, guided by our own emotions to lead our life, to decide our life, and to behave accordingly. So actions do become important. But ultimately, it's the guiding force behind those actions. What is that? The thought process, the attitude, the emotions, that is being addressed in the Bhagavad Gita in a very elaborate manner. And while discussing about the Karma Yoga, if you remember, we do need an altar, something where we can surrender. We can surrender our karma, our actions. We can relate to that Almighty, that force. And if you remember, I said, even if somebody is an atheist, doesn't believe in the existence of Almighty or a God or something, doesn't matter. Even that person needs a Wilson. You remember the movie The Castaway? In that, the marooned person was dependent on a deflated I think, volleyball, in which a figure of a face of a person he made himself or accidentally was made, and he called that person as Wilson. And that's how he survived for months together, or maybe possibly a few years, talking to that Wilson. So we all need that. We are human beings, and we need to relate to somebody who can listen to us without getting judgmental, without interrupting, and without changing or complaining. Normally, when we talk to a person, the other person could be a judgmental person, or could be interrupting us, giving advices which we don't require or we don't like, or the other person himself or herself wants us to listen back to his or her own pains, to reciprocate. So we do need somebody who doesn't demand anything in return, and still we can relate to that person. And who could be that person? That person could be either the so-called Wilson or the Almighty. At that, on the altar of the Almighty, we surrender, we talk, we discuss, we share, and feel relieved. And then we perform actions. And in the second chapter, we got a clue that at least some of the actions which we perform should be such where we are not the beneficiaries. That gradually releases us from the desperation to be happy. And that desperation to be happy, we have already discussed long time back. It can be summarized in a few lines. One of them is, we feel we are free. Freedom we talk about, although that freedom means we are slaves to our senses. We pursue sense objects mindlessly. That is how we call freedom. So being slaves, when we are slaves to our senses, we feel we are powerful and free. What a paradox. Second thing is, the so-called freedom we exercise in pursuing our sense objects of desires. What do? We create mountains of manure and trashes. The bigger the mountain one creates, the more successful he or she thinks himself or herself to be. Remember, mountains of manure means over the years we keep eating mountains of food and we throw out garbage, which is also equal to mountains. Similarly, we consume things or use things like furniture, gadgets, this, that, so many things. And ultimately, all of it becomes trash, and we have mountains of trashes. So each one pursues that endlessly, and we create mountains of trashes and manure, and we feel we are doing something very great. This is something one has to understand. Creating mountains of trashes and mountains of manures and remaining unhappy, frustrated inside, or some happiness and lot of unhappiness. What kind of life we are living? Why? Because we are slaves. We are not free enough to choose actions with our rational mind. It's the emotions which guide the rational mind, and then that rational mind chooses the actions and defends it. that leads to a vicious circle. We feel we are incomplete. We chase sense objects to have that completeness. The very chasing sense objects confirms that we are incomplete from inside. And that confirmation of incompleteness keeps us running for the sense objects throughout our life, thinking that someday when I gain all these things, I will be happy. And that day doesn't come, and we keep running after it. Whereas on the other hand, if we challenge that very basic assumption that I am unhappy, I am incomplete. Why? I am not. Maybe I am just assuming it, or it is my conditioning. One challenges that and then performs actions where one does things which brings cheerfulness, which brings a sense of contentment, but where that person himself or herself is not the beneficiary. Even such moments are there. Such actions gradually de-addicts us. Otherwise, we are addicted to sense objects. It's a different kind of addiction. Like other drug addiction or alcohol addiction or smoking addiction or whatever, this chasing the sense objects itself is an addiction. And to come out of this addiction is what the Bhagavad Gita teaches. Actions are how to perform actions, the attitude, etc., are the means to that goal, the de-addiction. It's a manual of de-addiction. Or it's a manual of vaccination against sorrow. So this is how the second chapter ended and the third chapter starts. We will be looking at more of the shlokas later in the third chapter. There is a world view and there is a universe view given in this chapter. So we have to understand the context behind the shlokas, what was the view given, and then try to understand. So we should be trying to understand what Krishna says rather than trying to get confirmation of our own ideas from Krishna. That is the attitude we should be pursuing this text. Why this text? Any text any text which we read or we try to understand, the attitude should be to listen to what it says rather than to get confirmation of already existing ideas and getting some of the confirmation. If I get the confirmation, I like the text. If I don't get the confirmation, I dislike the text. That way I don't learn anything. So with this, we stop here and I open the session for question and answers. The more questions we have, it becomes easier for me to understand where I should emphasize and where I missed and how to fill up the gap. Questions, please. Anybody?
We have a number of new participants today. If they have any questions regarding this talk series, they are most welcome.
Or anything which they expect. What is their expectation? Why did they join? Let me hear that. Would you like to say something?
No.
Okay, you tell me, what did you understand from today's talk?
I understand that there was Duryodhani in the story too.
What? Could you please repeat? There is a story.
I understand that Duryodhani was in the story too.
I couldn't get you. Can you type it out?
Okay.
That will be easier for me to understand.
In the meantime, anybody else?
Yeah. Feel free, don't hesitate. Yeah.
I have a question, but it's not
Doesn't matter,
necessarily
even if it's an
stop.
unrelated question, it's okay.
Let me just unmute.
Yeah.
So I have a question on Murti Puja,
Yeah.
So I know we have to go beyond it, to really really get to realize Ishwar and Nirvana and all that stuff. So what is your opinion on Murti Puja?
If I remember correctly, you have been attending the classes and you must have heard about Wilson.
Wilson.
Did you?
I
Hello?
have been attending, yes.
Have you
Yeah.
seen that movie? The Castaway?
I don't recall exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, I don't recall exactly, what was said.
Okay, fine. Murti Puja it works at two levels. One is, of course, it's an action at the bodily level. But the most important thing is, it's the emotions.
Yeah.
Okay. There is even a third thing. There is nothing called Murti. Even Murti is live. Okay. Everything is live. There is nothing dead. No dead matter in this universe. Everything responds in its own way. Okay. You hit a desk, it makes sound. That's how it responds. You hit a dog, it barks. That's how the dog responds. So the third part, we were keeping it aside. Nothing is dead. Everything is alive. But for the time being, even if somebody thinks that Murti is not that alive, but when you start relating to it, one thing becomes very evident.
Can I type it now, please?
Yeah, please type. One thing becomes very evident. My emotions, my unconscious. Yeah, but you can type, my dear. Till you type, I will answer her question. Can we mute?
I think he's keep changing.
Okay.
He's mute actually.
Okay. So are you there, Rupalji?
Sheila ji is there.
Oh, Sheila ji, okay.
I'm
Are you
here.
there?
I'm here.
Yeah. So we need, there is a need to relate to somebody whom we think is all powerful, almighty, who is non-judgmental, and who is unchanging. Otherwise, you see, when we choose people to listen to us, they get tired or they have their own expectations. Whereas in the case of a Murti, these problems don't exist. Then we come back to the third thing. Nothing in this universe is dead. Everything responds. Okay. I always used to wonder, how could a dog trainer talk to a dog without any special training? How the trainer understands the dog's language and the dog understands the trainer's language. Then later on, somebody told me, why you are just talking about dog and the dog trainer? Even a little infant, a child who is just a few days old or a few hours old, and then over a few weeks, the mother starts understanding the child and the child starts understanding the mother. Isn't it true? You being a mother, you will be knowing that much better than men folk. Hello, I want to see you. Where are you?
Yes, yes, true. That's true. I'm here.
Yeah. So, how does a mother understand the child? How does a child understand the mother itself is a big story we may not understand, okay? But how does a mother understand the child? There is no language other than crying. And yet the mother starts understanding, starts feeling. Why just mother and the child? I tell you, in my childhood, I used to ride a bicycle. And that bicycle was such, only I could ride it. Anybody else riding it, either the brakes won't work or something else won't work, and that person will not be able to ride. Even we find at times certain locks. I mean, in India, it's more relevant there. I don't think those Aligarh type locks are available now anymore. Correct? But you must have seen sometime those Aligarh type locks with keys. Only some people or the person who has been opening the lock will be able to open. Any other person using the same key is unable to open it. Have you seen, have you experienced that yourself or through somebody else? I mean, somebody else known to you. Why? Because we get attuned to it, attuned to that even dead matter, and it responds. So when we keep relating to a Murti, okay, I don't call it an idol, I call it a Murti. When you keep relating to a Murti, it starts responding. You are able to understand it, and that thing also is able to understand you. That's how the universe works. In this universe, if you start relating to the clouds, they will respond to you. Anything you start relating to continuously with full of heart, it's a matter of time, it will start responding back. So there is no dead matter, and there's nothing dead. So you are invoking the Almighty in that. The Almighty is everywhere, in every particle of this universe. So in that particular form, it will start responding to you. So this is what I see, and I don't say I feel it, I see that way. So that's how important
Thank you.
Murti Puja is. Yes, what was his question? He had typed, I think.
Okay, I think something.
Yeah, I know it is very important for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Sohit, you asked something, but it's not complete, right? I understand that Duryodhana is in the story. We don't understand the question, Sohit. How old are you, Sohit?
Okay. Any other question?
6.
So Murti is such a nice thing that we are able to relate to so easily. And everybody relates to something or the other.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
People
I
have
completely
those,
understand.
even
It's
pet
just
rocks. Pet
I've been
rocks.
attending some. Yeah, it's just I've been attending some Arya Samaj lecture.
Okay. Your voice is muted. You are muted. Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Silaji, you are saying about Arya Samaj.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hope it stays because my mute button is not. So
It's muted again.
Wait.
I hope the mute button stays this way. It's not working properly.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I'm saying I've been attending some Arya Samaj lectures and they don't believe in Murti Puja. So they think that I have to go beyond that, which is
Yeah.
true. So, but Murtis mean a lot to me, with my background. So that's why I asked this question here to understand,
Yeah, I understand
your
that.
views on it to relate to
Correct.
what they were saying.
See, just by my saying, I don't believe in sun.
Yeah.
S-U-N.
Okay.
The sun doesn't disappear.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't stop giving its rays.
Yeah.
Or its gravitation pull.
Mhm.
You don't believe, okay, that's your
Yeah.
choice. But what it is remains. Even if you go by the modern science, the quantum physics, it talks about particles and every particle responds. And every particle is as alive as we are. In fact, we are nothing but a bunch of particles.
Yes.
Only billions of particles. So there is no difference between one particle and a few billion particles. After all, they are particles. And if one particle responds,
Right.
all the billions will respond. And the Murti is no different from those particles. So it is little absurd, even in this age, if somebody says, I don't believe in Murti, in the age of modern science. In fact, when somebody says in the age of modern science, it is absurd to believe in Murtis, I see just the opposite of it. The person doesn't know modern science then. Okay, with this we stop here. Rajesh ji?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Any other question
thank you.
from anybody? Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.